Welcome back, Billiken fans, message board morons. It's Zach Miller and Peter Hale. It's a Midtown Madness podcast. Before we get going, thank you so much for listening. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave a comment. If you are watching on YouTube and we say something you like, something you don't like, drop a comment. Really doesn't matter, as long as you're not mean. It's season 4, and once again, the Midtown Madness podcast is brought to you by the good guys over at Two Men and a Garden. Peter, I say it every time. I find it incredibly dumb how many different products and services and subscriptions are advertised on podcasts, on videos. It's ridiculous. We're not here to sell you something that sends you a new bathroom item every 2 weeks. No. We're here for Two Men and a Garden salsa. It's local. It tastes amazing. They've got all the flavors to suit your salsa preferences. You can pick up their products at any local grocery store or online at twomenindagarden.com, which, if you're particular about your salsa taste, that's where you want to go first. Follow them on social media at Two Men Salsa. That's on Instagram and Twitter. Pete, I think we need to have a conversation. It appears as though the Billiken basketball team has turned state's evidence against the mafia and is in witness protection program.
Is that maybe being a little harsh, Zach? I mean, we saw some tweets, some Instagram posts today. Maybe they've at least had a photo shoot.
But yes, okay, fine. The question is the SLU athletic department hiding the men's basketball team? Or, okay, and if it's not the SLU athletic department, is Travis Ford hiding his basketball team?
That's a fair question. One of the things that you and I do from our official Twitter account is we follow every men's basketball program and some other programs as well on our on our official feed, right? So I guess I should say, sorry, in the A10.
Yeah.
So all of the other teams, all other 14 of them, we kind of see what they're up to, what kind of stuff they're posting, how frequently they're posting, the quality of what they're posting. Some of them leave a little to be desired, and you would expect nothing less. Some of them are really good at what they put out, and they always seem to be promoting their program, regardless of how they expect performance to be this season or how performance was last season, and always seems to be in service of the fans, of like giving them good content, good information, stuff to kind of sink their teeth into a little bit. And I gotta say, Zach, what we've seen from the men's basketball program lately with regard to their public facing posts anyway has been really, really light.
Yeah.
Really infrequent. There's just not been a lot there. And I think your questions are fair because there's not much information or really anything coming out of the program these days.
Yeah, it kind of seems like, I mean, they've done they've done a couple, like the things that they have done are actually kind of interesting. I thought it was a little weird with Travis on the mic, and just trying to explain, like walking us through a practice, which was weird, just explaining drills to us. I thought that was weird, but like, at least it's different and trying to give us insight. So I appreciate that, but it's like, I mean, it's not just us, and it's not like, it's other people too. Like it's the message board posters are noticing. In the Billiken Discord, they're noticing. Other Twitter personalities are noticing. It's bizarre. And it was brought up to us by West Pine Bills that this tends to be a pattern, especially when they don't expect the team to be very good.
So get into that a little bit more. When else have we seen this kind of pattern? Like if there is a pattern emerging, what other times have we seen it?
So I think the only difference to this would be when Travis Ford was hired, right?
Hmm.
I think, and kind of that, well, maybe that first year, it was more just because Travis Ford was new, things were exciting, but Jim Cruz era towards the end, there was really, they did not a lot of posts. I mean, again, this is West Pine Bills who obsessively follows social media. So they didn't really get into where, but they did just kind of indicate that when the team tends to not look good for the season, they tend to kind of downplay things.
Yeah, and that feels right, even though I don't have the data or whatever in front of me. That kind of feels right just on its face. But the other thing, Zach, is it seems to me like now that as we release this, we're just over 2 weeks away from the first time we see these guys live in game action, and that's that October 24th exhibition game. And you mentioned this last week. There are a lot of guys with the Billiken as their photo, right? Like
Mhm.
we know they just got their official photos taken and they'll be up soon. But I just counted 10 people right now who don't have an official photo on the roster. 10 new guys. Easy content idea. Sit down with one of them and cut a 2-minute video getting to know them. Like we don't know who any of these guys are. I want to know all about, like, who are they? What brought them to SLU?
Yes.
What are they
Personality.
enjoying
If
so
if we're
far?
gonna suck, just give us some personality.
I mean, 100%. Because then now I'm drawn in. I like this guy. I like
Yeah.
Bruce. I like Steph. I think like these guys seem cool. Brad, like I want to get to
I
know what makes them tick, what they're up to, what they're like, what they're into. It doesn't have to be anything super involved, but I see, like, again, we follow a lot of other programs and we see a lot of stuff like this. Not to mention the women's team is doing it. Like, just that to me, even if you're worried about what how last season went and how fans reacted and how this season might go, give us a narrative to get into.
what's the point of it too? Right. Well, first of all, I
Yeah.
want to say before I get into what's the point, I want to say like you look at Steph Van Boosel, you look at Bruce Zhang, you look at Georgie, and I'm not even going to try it. You saw me go to try it, and then I realized I wasn't going to try it. Um, you look at these guys, and I can understand if maybe they don't want to being like English second language. Steph's a little different. Georgie may be, coming from the Netherlands, it's a little more English friendly than maybe Serbia or Croatia or China. But like I think we've gotten to a point in our culture where that shit is endearing. Like it's always endearing to watch somebody talk in their accent and maybe, second language. I think and talk about themselves. Or maybe hell, subtitles.
Yes, I was just
Do
going to say
that.
that.
Do
But
that.
you also inadvertently hit on another reason to do it, is say your name on mic. Like, do us a
Beautiful.
favor. Do us a favor. Let us know exactly how to pronounce your name on mic, on audio, on video. And yeah, if you need to throw a subtitle in there for a thick accent, so be it. I don't
Or just
know.
let them talk in or speak in their native tongue and
Yeah,
just
that'd be cool too.
subtitles.
That'd be cool too. Or at
Sure,
least,
why not?
partially. Yeah.
Not only are you giving the fans stuff, you're conscious of your hearing impaired fans too. It's a win-win.
Right, right.
I,
Serbia, France, China, the Netherlands. We've got dudes from all over the place.
I mean,
let's,
they've got stories. They have to have stories.
right.
Everybody, like, that's the number one thing, right? You watch ESPN, you watch any broadcast, any basketball broadcast or sports broadcast, they're
Mhm.
always looking at storylines. So if we're not going to be good this year, get us invested emotionally into these guys. That's why
Mhm.
reality TV works.
Yes. Or if you think we actually are going to be good this year, give us some reasons why, like show us some some good footage of these guys from practice or something, or maybe even have an open practice for the fans, like happened a lot this weekend for other programs.
I really think this is kind of strike two of just inexplicable decisions from this athletic department regarding the men's basketball program, right? It's the ticketing,
Mhm.
season ticketing, ending before the renewals, ending before the schedule comes out. Look, I understand that there were issues with contracts being signed. There was one that I think there was an issue with a mutiny within one of the programs. I don't know. I only have a little bit of nugget on that, but like extend the ticket renewal. Just extend it. It doesn't. There's no like. There's no harm in that. It's you're not changing anybody's mind because the schedule's not going to get someone to buy tickets right at the
Mhm.
renewal date. The schedule's not going to be the thing. Like, but it's also the thing that they might not renew. Right.
Right.
I think there's more negative to allowing the deadline to pass before releasing the schedule than extending the deadline.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with that.
So,
And
so I think the lack of promotion of this team and the lack of getting into finding ways to make this team interesting is just strike two.
it is. I mean, you just said the word promotion. And if you're not doing that, then what are you doing? Because at the end of the day, you're supposed to sell tickets. No matter what you think, no matter how you feel, no matter how scared you are, no matter how maybe you haven't liked fan reactions to certain things, you have to sell tickets. Bottom line, like that's not
This
that
feels
doesn't
like
go
me.
away.
This is such a me thing. Like at my essence is like, I'm afraid that I'm going to suck at something. So I don't do it. Like triathlon is the one thing in my life where I was like, oh, I might suck at this, but I'm going to still try anyway. Like everything else
Yeah.
in my life has been me where I'm afraid that people aren't going to like it or things aren't going to work out or it's not going to go well. This is me. And I'm sitting here telling you this. Like I can real recognize real here, Peter. Game
Yeah.
recognize game.
I always give my wife trouble for that because like she's such a hardcore person and perfectionist, like she finishes first in her law school class, first at the Ohio State bar. Like you think like, oh wow, she's great at everything. And then I'll be like, maybe we should go skiing sometime. And she's like, no, I've never been skiing. I don't think I'm gonna be good at it. Like she only she's either like, I'm gonna be perfect at this or I'm not gonna touch it. Maybe slightly different, but regardless, I
I
definitely
wish I could be a
I
perfectionist.
understand where you're coming at, like the fear or hesitation to do a thing, just because you're worried at how it might go. But regardless, it's a revenue thing. You have to drive revenue for your revenue sport.
No.
Put butts in seats, like make us like these guys. Let us get to know them. Get us invested in this season. Don't just give us silence and make us wonder why there's nothing coming out of there. Or the bigger risk is, Zach, the downside of having casual fans who just aren't paying attention, who just like the casuals notice when a team is winning, and they notice when there's something like compelling storylines. Give them something that crosses their radar, that gets them interested, because the worst thing that happens there is the people who kind of fill out the ends in the upper deck of the arena, they're just not going to be there,
No.
because you're not giving them anything. I mean, you're not like, and then the people who are hanging on the day to day of this program, we're not really getting a whole lot to chew on either.
I really think that I think it's interesting. You talked about selling, and we had a little text back and forth about this, and I really wonder about this the makeup of the athletic department in the marketing and the sales. It's a lot of college, a lot of guys that have come over, or a lot of women, men that have come over from other colleges, and not a lot of that minor league sports background. I've said this before. I worked, around a year, I think total, with the St. Louis Ambush, and the sales, like it is like sales are the most important thing.
Mhm.
Group ticket sales. I mean, I truly believe that SLU men's soccer could sell out every weekend game if they put effort into group ticket sales. Like you look at, again, with selling the program and selling Billiken basketball season tickets, right? You knew that things might not be well, right? So let's talk about the beginning of the fall. Why not throw in, because we just got an email about 3 comped soccer games.
Mhm.
Like you're like, as much as I appreciate that they're trying to get fans in the stands for these games, like
Mhm.
you're devaluing your product. If you want to do something like that, and the basketball team's kind of looking on the downside, why not, hey, you renew your men's basketball tickets on day one, you get
Yes.
all the A10 games for men's soccer or all the A10 games for women's soccer too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Something
Sweeten
like
the pot.
that.
Right.
Yes. And if you're going to go down this road of just sending out comp tickets anyway,
Right.
uh,
Yeah, or do bundles, right? Like, hey, buy 2 tickets to these 4 games, and we'll give you a price break, or 4 tickets. Call it Family Fun Day.
yeah,
Like
because
4
when they
tickets
do the
to
inflatables, this Sunday games, do a Sunday
yeah,
pass.
right. And yeah, and for basketball games too. Like, hey, you get 4 tickets, you get 4 little promo items, you get hot
Yeah.
dogs and a soda or a popcorn or whatever. Like bundle these things together, and people notice that kind of stuff. And maybe it gets you to
We're all
take your
stupid
family to
apes.
once.
We're all stupid apes at the base level. We don't. You show us a deal, we're probably going to take it.
Yeah, right.
But it's like it's just I just don't understand. They don't do the. It's like they don't do the marketing work. So then they end up giving away tickets, and then they complain that they give away tickets.
Mm,
Or I don't know
right.
if they complain, but like it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. I don't know what to hit. Like in foul tip. Okay, 2 strikes. The foul tip is the basketball pep rally.
Hmm.
If people haven't seen it, Pete, run down for me real quick what the tweet, I guess the graphic says.
Yeah, so it shows the stands, like the student section of the stands on one side, and then all capital letters on the other side. Billiken's basketball pep rally event includes watching women's basketball practice, speakers, Coach Ford, Coach Tillett, and players, interactive cheers, free pizza and free shirts, opportunity to shoot on the court. October 11th, doors open at 5:30, enter through gate A. Event starts at 5:55 p.m.
And it says, and the tweet is, SLU official students save the date for Billiken's pep rally on Wednesday, October 11th.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the thing is there, like, now you open it up to questions about, like, okay, so men's basketball doesn't seem to be part of the, you know, watching women's basketball practice, fine. But the fact that Coach Ford is speaking and it's women's basketball practice, and then it says Coach Ford, Coach Tillett, and players, it doesn't really say players
The,
from both teams. And then yeah, like you just pointed out, SLU official students save the date. So is it students only, or can the general public go? Like,
the
what's
ice
the deal
cube,
there?
the ice cube that Doc Brown made in Back to the Future 3 was clearer than this.
That's yeah, that's for everybody right there. Um it's to me, pep rally generally, when I think of that, it's like within a school, right?
Yeah.
So if I see this, I go, this is probably just for students. Like, it sounds to me like it's just for students.
Yeah.
That's how I interpret that. I don't know if that's the case or not, though, because I guess there hasn't really been any clarity on that.
It's amazing. I mean, I first of all, fine.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's true. If it is
The
for
fact that there's
students,
no follow up is ridiculous.
if it is just for students, fine. But, like, is there going to be anything for season ticket holders, right? Or general public, whoever wants to go? That's I'm kind of wondering that, because I haven't seen anything resembling.
I can't believe they
in open
haven't
practice.
clarified. And I'm not holding my breath on an open practice either. Which again, like, I mean, I'm sorry, like I absolutely, you and I are going to cover SLU women's basketball a lot this season,
Yeah.
but I would say that 80 to 90% of basketball fans that are also SLU students are not interested in the women's basketball practice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah, right or wrong, look, the attendance numbers are what they are.
Yes.
Men's relative to women's, and it's you're right. It's just the way that it is. I would be I would love to see that event. I'm definitely interested, and we've talked a lot about that program and where we think it's going and how it's doing and all that kind of stuff. But you're right. It's just not as big a draw in general. Which again, if this is a student event, if it's a pep rally, it's a relatively, short thing. You've got rah speeches from the coaches, meet some players, get out on the court. It's cool. It's a cool thing. But like, I would just want to know that there's something for the
Yeah.
general public, season ticket holders, etc. And I just would want them to be clear on this for sure, what it is.
This
Because
this
I know there are a lot of people who would want to go to this too, who might not be students.
this event, every year we kind of wonder if we're going to get some sort of preseason open practice. And I feel like I always think about, that year under Soderberg. I believe Shimmy was the head coach at the time for the women at West Pine Gym. It was, I think Drea was on that team. But they did they did a legit midnight madness. And I truly, like, I feel like this athletic department wants so bad to do that. But
Right.
they would just, it would be a debacle, so they don't.
Right. Yeah. I feel like every year lately we are asking, are we going to have an event like this? And then in the meantime, we're seeing other programs already having them, which to me kind of like answers the question, like what we saw footage from, I think there were multiple A10 open practices today. And yeah, it seemed like they had pretty good crowds and we're doing promotions and things like that. And we're still asking, like, is this going to happen or not? And I just kind of feel like the writing's on the wall, that they're just gonna, we're just not going to see a lot more in person or even in video before we actually go see this exhibition game in a couple weeks. And I actually am wondering about those. Are we going to be able to watch them? Because I know in years past,
Oh God,
if you,
no. Oh God, no. There's no way it's streaming.
yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm
Sorry,
here
I
to,
should say streaming.
I
Like,
am
yes, you'll
here.
obviously be able to watch them if
Oh, I'm
you're
shocked.
local.
I'm actually shocked that they'll let us in the building.
A closed door exhibition for, yeah. But yeah, I'm not holding out hope that I'm going to get
They're
streaming for those
they're
two games. And that's it's already like kind of crushing me.
they're actually gonna do the game closed doors, and the only broadcast will be like Tecmo Bowl, or like that electronic football, the
Yeah,
magnetic thing. It'll be just like that, but
just
that's the highlights.
buzzing around the
Yeah,
table. Yeah.
exactly. So my question then, if we're gonna get down to the crux of what they're doing here, why? Why are they, like, what's the point of hiding this team? Okay, 'cause there's a few reasons they could do this. It could be fan interest. They could be worried about what the fans are gonna think, and whether they're not gonna show up. But I mean, what do you get? 3 games, 4 games, and we know what we have, and you stop going. Like, so
Yeah.
is it because they're afraid of the Atlantic 10 seeing what we have? Because again, everybody has the software online to pull up game film.
The thing is, it's like, I guess that's possible, but I also go, it doesn't really make sense anyway, because like when we do hear the coaches talk about the team, they still say like our like Ford said a couple weeks ago, like our goal is to win 25 or 26 games this season. And he wouldn't be saying that if he thought they were going to win 15, or 12 or whatever. Why assign a number to it? And they have said like some of these are really good players. Like we're happy with what we've got. We think the talent's there. I would say it's the job of every sports team to get fan interest peaking, to get it buzzing before the season starts, no matter what. Everybody knew the Chicago Bears were going to be terrible this season. They've been terrible this season, but that doesn't mean nobody was working to promote the team before the season. They all do. They all do, no matter what, no matter how bad they're going to be. It's just very weird to me if that's an intentional thing, which brings up another possibility. Is it not intentional? Is it just that they're just not doing a good job, or like they're understaffed, or like someone's just not promoting it for whatever reason?
Or do they just not care, but like, is it something that's just slipping by because it's not because, well, how about this? What if they're just not excited anymore?
Who's they being who? The men's basketball program, the athletic department, people who are in marketing positions?
Everybody. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, again, it's you talk about work, right? When you're excited to do something, it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
What's exciting? Winning. Good teams, good players. I mean, are they just not excited to talk about this team? Like, are they like, again, it's that same thing like on my end where I talk about it. This is me. If I'm not like, it's way harder for me to do things that I'm not excited for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it's possible that they're not just hiding it to hide it. Maybe morale is low. Maybe, I mean, like, I feel like there's a real disconnect. And I'm going to say this and people can take it for what it's worth, or they cannot. But there's a giant difference between the culture of these individual teams, the men's soccer, women's soccer, volleyball, baseball, softball, all these teams, and the general day-to-day athletic staff. There's a major difference. A major difference.
I know this much, Zach. When I was in the athletic department as a men's basketball manager and all of the other little odd jobs I did back in college years ago now, it could be surprising sometimes at how understaffed we felt, and how we just did not have the resources you would have thought a Conference USA program at the time would have, and I think sometimes people look at Chaffetz Arena and the size of the university, and you might see some billboards here and there and think that there's a size and a scale to what they're doing, and then really you find out like it's a few people, and that's a fragile thing.
Yeah.
And if those people either aren't in the seats they need to be in, or they're not happy in their seats, or they're not getting the resources that they need, it doesn't take a whole lot for things just not to get done, or
Correct.
things not to be done well, or things not to be done in a big way that promotes your program. And I absolutely find that believable based on my time in the athletic department in 2001 to 2005. Shocking at times. And I know I've brought it up here before, but shocking at times as to how rickety the operation could be. And I'm not saying that is the case today, but I'm just saying these are fragile things, and it's not as many people as you would think who make the thing go. So if a couple wheels fall off, or a couple cogs are missing in the machine, that has a bigger impact than you would think.
Yeah, I think I think you're probably right here. I mean, look at it this way. Today is media day, or whatever you want to call it, photo day for men's basketball. At the same time, SLU women's soccer is playing a match against LaSalle that has to be covered. You have one video coordinator, and that's Jordan Neisler. I mean, homie's good at what he does, but he can't be at Chaffetz and at Herman at the same time.
Right.
I mean, you have, like, look at the days where you would have a men's soccer game and a women's volleyball game. You have an assistant director of facilities and event management. You don't have a director of facilities and event management. You have one person. I mean, marketing, you have one guy who's director of marketing and social media across all teams. And then the teams individually do their own social media. I believe. Right. You have, there's 3 SIDs here. Kunderman has 4 teams. All of them have 4 teams except for Grace Harmon, who is the newest member of that squad. That's crazy. And I mean, look, Kunderman is men's soccer and field hockey and cross country, track and field. Pete, all those 3 are at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I think Grace Harmon is the only one that actually has a decent schedule here. She has volleyball, women's basketball, and baseball. Bless her.
Yeah, it's spread out.
It's again, and then I mean then the rest of it is done by, I guess, interns. I really don't know. There's definitely, there's an assistant director of athletics and ticketing, and then there's a graduate assistant. That means there's what? Maybe the graduate assistant is full-time. If not, they have one full-time ticketing person. Right.
Well, I guess SLU does have a sports business management program now, so I'm sure there are an abundance of interns from within the business school.
This is what I'm saying. Again, when I talked earlier about all these people who are in the athletic department right now came from college athletics, and a lot of them came from big-time college athletics where the tickets are sell themselves. None of them came from the minor league squad or the minor league marketing, where you have to get out and grassroots this stuff. Like, get out. Why? Again, there's not a table again, and I understand that maybe some of the, like, men's soccer may not like it that men's basketball is being promoted at their game. I can understand that. But a table where you can see QR codes for every sport. I just synergy, people. Anyway, I digress. The Champions Center grand opening is today at 4 p.m., Monday the 9th. And again, I say, why is this before rush hour?
Well, I mean, by the time people get off work and maybe can swing by, it'll be in full swing. You might miss the whatever they're gonna have, ribbon cutting or whatever it is before they open the doors to the public. There are going to be tours for a while, and they are going to have free parking in the Olive Compton garage.
I thought you were going to say popcorn. I was going to be excited.
I don't know how late it's all going to go. I would assume a couple hours, but I would think most people, if you get off at 5 or 5:30 or whatever, would have a chance to pop in and see the thing before they shut that down for the day. I would hope anyway. So yeah, you might miss the whatever they say behind a podium at 4 p.m. It's kind of an odd time. It's getting dark a little earlier. Maybe that's part of it. They still wanted to have it with some.
They did have a big tent up today, so I think they're expecting some shade anyway, or some But go on, sorry.
So yeah, we'll recap what this is. It's the O'Loughlin Family Champion Center It would cost $20 million, all privately funded, basically $21 million gifts that helped build the thing. It's 25,000 square feet. It has a student success suite, performance nutrition center, a team dining suite, basketball ops,
Did I
soccer
really write
ops.
it like that?
You did, but I know what
Oh,
you
I
meant in
hate
some of these things.
myself.
Technology suites, student athlete development program is in there. So it's a lot of the things that the athletes at SLU will need on a day-to-day basis. It's really going to be transformative for their day-to-day experience. It's a really cool thing. I'm glad we have it. I am thrilled to have it, but it is funny, Zach, and you bring up an important question here, is maybe the timing on this is a little unusual.
Yeah, I also want to say that I think this is going to be a major time saver for every athlete.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
I mean, instead of going to to Pius, they can just pop down to a quiet room and the Champion Center. Um, it is odd. I think you look at. I wonder how fair it is to look at this investment through the eyes of the name, image, and likeness era. Look at the time frame. This was announced 10/19/2021. I'm assuming this was over 6 months to a year of planning, at least.
Oh, at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
to get those kind of donations from that many people. Yeah. This
2019
I
was
think at the time, I think they said it was a few years in the making that,
yeah.
they all got rounded up
Um,
to kind of do this.
Groundbreaking 5/24/2022. Um, I wonder if they might have thought about pivoting at some point on this one. No, I know the answer to that question.
Yeah, no, I think the answer is also probably a pretty solid no.
Correct.
I think once they had this idea, you have to be a true believer to donate seven figures to anything. And I think all of them rightly, I believe, think it is transformative and it is important for the athletics program. And I think they're just thinking of what being able to put your stamp on something that's there and it's real and it's concrete and it's going in the ground and it's something that they all, how many 300 to 400 SLU student athletes can use every day. That's a really big deal. And I applaud everyone involved in that. It is unfortunate for SLU that our big money donors were tied up with this right when we needed people to come through and kind of fund the Billiken Victory Fund and make us competitive in the first couple rounds of recruiting, especially in men's basketball, and to a lesser extent in the other programs. And I don't know how much that message, or at least that thought, has gone through the minds of, the people who did fund this thing, who did donate to this. If they're thinking like, was this the best? Is this money well spent?
Yeah, I think I would say more or less that it's probably Troy Robertson. Like,
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, president of the
I can't
Billiken
hold
Victory
on.
Fund.
Well, hold on. Let's see. I can't call Joe Conran. He just dropped a couple mil.
Mm-hmm.
I can't call the O'Laughlins. They put their name on the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Scoggins. Nope. Nope. Next. Nope. Next. No. Uh, uh, Peter Hale. What's he up to? I wonder if
I
he's ready to donate to the Billiken Victory Fund.
Yeah, you don't want to be leading with your four-figure at most donors. You want to have the base secured
Oh,
by some
also
much
Mark
bigger donors.
Scoggins is on the BVF board. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, well, so he's one who may get it, but Zach, athletic department and donors aside, how do you think the men's basketball staff is thinking about the project right now?
Oh man, that's tough because
I
I
think
think I've gotten I think while everything Travis Ford kind of does is carefully crafted and may or may not be his true feelings, I think on some level he's got to be frustrated that I think he's got to be frustrated, but he's also got to realize that partially this is on him too. That the Billiken Victory Fund is underperforming. But I think, he's got to be at least a little frustrated in a selfish way that
Mhm.
the $20 million wasn't there for this season.
Mhm.
We're looking at a different team.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a beautiful facility. It already looks beautiful from the outside. I'm sure it's beautiful on the inside. If Chris May has done nothing else as athletic director, he can build a building or two.
Yeah.
So
And I've made this point on at least two different shows, including very recently. But the culture of our donors, we're also assuming, Zach, that they would all be interested in donating to the Billiken Victory Fund,
right,
and I don't think everybody in that group, in that demographic or anything. There are a lot of people who still are not comfortable with the idea of pay to play, basically. Like, I know it's a little indirect and it's crafted a certain way, but it's essentially what it is. And a lot of people just haven't gotten there yet. They're not comfortable with it. College athletics has always been one way to them, and now it's different in one major way, and they're not all there yet. So I do at least want to acknowledge that it's not like all of that money we'd be sitting on to throw at recruits for every sport or anything like that. It's not quite that clean. um Regardless, I think this is a great thing overall, that it's here, that it's built, that it's opening. Excited for it. I know a lot of the athletes are excited for it. But it is a very slew thing for this to happen right at the dawn of the NIL age. And that's a space that we have not been competitive in yet. And so it's always, one step forward, one step back, for us, unfortunately. And I don't want that to sully the excitement around this thing. I think it's still going to be pretty cool regardless.
um, we mentioned the Billiken Victory Fund in that kind of alongside the Champions Center. Um, where are they? To
Yeah.
quote Charlie and Lost.
So you've got Troy Robertson, who's the president of it, and then the other people on the board are, Gerard Carmody, Scott Highmark, Jody Peterson, Mark Scoggins, and Joe Wiley. Zach, I think you pointed out that only one of them is really active on Twitter. The website's pretty bare bones, and it's hard to tell what they really have besides a mission statement. And I, I mean, we've gone over plenty of times how it's clear that we don't have the bag, with NIL. Like, we're not getting wins over the schools that we wanted to be winning against in recruiting. And I really think that NIL is kind of one of these things, like, fake it till you make it is a completely valid
Mm-hmm.
business model here, right? Like, we people aren't going to throw, like, it's a chicken and egg thing. Like, we don't have enough money in it, but we need people to put money into it. But, like, people don't want to throw money at, they don't want to throw good money after bad, right? Like, I would be more inclined to donate if I knew the big dogs were all putting their money in as well, and I was seeing results out of it.
Yeah.
Or at least, like, higher level wins. Not to knock anybody that we've landed since NIL has started or anything like that, but we've just missed out on a lot of our recruiting targets over the past.
And we lost a recruiting target almost exclusively, or we lost two commitments to probably NIL.
And who would those be?
Brock Weiss
Hmm.
and I don't know, the kid who
The
went
guy who went to
to North Texas.
CJ Nolan. CJ Nolan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, and
I mean, you're
again,
right. You're right.
I am comfortable saying that 99.9% chance that Brock Weiss went to Creighton for a better NIL. I'm comfortable with that. I don't know about Nolan, but I'm guessing.
Yeah, and you can also, there's the plausible deniability that Phil Forte was involved in their recruitments and everything. And look, whatever. But I think NIL still speaks bigger than any of those other factors, right? And basketball rosters are not big, and you probably feel a little bit different about the season if you never lost those two guys. That's a big difference when 2 out of your 13 scholarship players leave for that reason. But regardless, back to fake it till you make it. I think if they projected more strength, and if they
Yes.
if they projected more certainty
Hey,
and
wait,
the direction
are
and
we
all of
talking
those
about a
things,
pyramid scheme?
you know
Because
nobody is more like I will I'm
that's what
so
I'm hearing. I'm hearing a Ponzi scheme here, actually. Is really the vibe I'm getting about this organization you're creating.
I might be using the wrong phrase, because I guess what I'm saying is people don't have much confidence if number one, not seeing results, but number two, they're just not seeing anything,
You know what
right?
con man is short for, right?
Zach, I sure do.
Okay.
And I myself am no confidence man. Trust me. It's just not my thing. But like, I really think like people can tell we don't have the bag, and you just don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
You want to be, I want to see communication. I want to see like what are you driving toward? What are your goals? What are you accomplishing? What do you think you can accomplish? And instead, it's like we set this up. We kind of gave a mission statement, some ambition, a little bit of a framework of how it would go, and then it's been kind of quiet ever since. And that's it. And then I just don't think you can do that. I think you have to at least show that, like, hey, there's the lights are still on and somebody's answering the phone, kind of thing. Look, I'm by no means am I saying they should be defrauding people into giving money or
No, no. Oh, no,
lying
no, no.
about how much money they have.
No.
But there's a way to project yourself as like,
Yes.
we at least have the framework, the capability of
Yes.
delivering on what our promise is supposed to be. I'm not saying be Elizabeth Holmes or or the WeWork dude or anything like that. Like,
Or that kinky
don't
dude
defraud
from
people.
Bankman Fried or whatever his name
Sam
was.
Bankman-Fried. You
Yeah.
don't, yeah, don't defraud people. But no, of course not. But project some ability to to at
Yeah.
least
Like say it with your
make money.
chest,
Right.
you
Yeah, yeah.
know?
It's kind of like the athletic department right now. It's like, don't hide,
Yeah.
like do the thing that you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Um, so me personally, that's why I haven't thrown a dime their way, is just because like I don't know
What's
where it's
going
going. I don't know
on?
what, yeah, I don't know what it's doing. Am I the
What are they?
only
I don't know what
one?
she's doing in there.
I don't want to be the only one to walk out on the dance floor, like I want to know
Yeah.
the
It's like
club
that
is
scene in
bumping.
Heavyweights.
A, a movie I've not seen since I was in the
That
Galleria 6 in 1995 or
that
whenever
is
it
a
came out. So
disgusting oversight in your cultural that's disgusting. You need to watch that again. And I want to make a point here because this isn't a shot at Troy or
not at all. Not at
any of
all.
these people. Well,
No.
the people that they need to be on Twitter. Come on. Like you guys, if you're commit like bare minimum, you need to just be waving around a briefcase, right? Like metaphorically speaking.
Mhm.
Um and Troy being the president did he really want to do it? I don't know. Um I'm sure he's doing what he can, but again,
Mhm.
that's a man with a successful real estate business that he's running. He's got a relatively young family and basically was wrangled into becoming the general manager of Billiken basketball.
Mhm.
Like I don't want to do that, and I don't have a family or any other hobbies.
Well, I mean, he's a former player, and like you said, he's a businessman and kind of knows how to promote and sell and those things. Like, he seemed like a pretty smart fit to me, like when it all
Sure.
was announced. And again, I don't think any of what's going on is his doing, but I still, like, I just have a lot of questions as to what's going on, how the thing is being run, and I just don't know. I
There's a
just don't
lot
know anything.
there's a lot of things that I could be a good fit for that I don't want to do.
I'm
that's
sure he would never say
fine.
that though.
No, of course not. But look, dude, let's put together a marketing plan, man. Let's work some stuff out, Troy. Have your people call my people.
How will they find you?
It's impossible. I am in witness protection program along with
You keep such a
the
low
rest of it. Yeah,
profile.
I
You're
know.
a real wallflower.
I know. Yeah. So look, Billiken Victory Fund is obviously not. We don't have the bag right now, but like we said, say it with your chest. Come on, let's act like the real deal at least. And
Yeah.
let's get these guys on Twitter and bring in like Cody Ellis or somebody. Bring in somebody from that era. Like we love Troy and we love Highmark, but and Joe, but like we're past their uh nostalgia era.
Sure.
Like let's get into the people that are, I mean, Kyle Cassidy, somebody like that.
Yeah, but regardless of who it is, former players or
Right.
whatever, I mean, like, I think what I would be doing is taking a hard look at what other schools are doing.
Mhm.
Like what's the outreach look like? How are they driving donations among, maybe the people who didn't just give $1 million a piece to the Champion Center? Because like everybody else's NIL isn't coming from 24 people. It's coming from wherever they can pull from. And I would love to see how they're engaging young alums, season ticket holders, former players. Like how are they engaging all of these different groups of people? And I bet there's a lot of creative things happening out there that maybe we're just not aware of.
Right. Like leasing trucks.
Yeah. Yeah, was that Utah football?
Can you imagine? Like I posted on Instagram, can you imagine how many scholarships are in football? Full scholarships.
I think it's 85, right?
Yeah. Can you imagine 85 trucks on SLU's campus at one time?
That's you could take over the school, like literally like take over the school. You could stage a coup with 85 new trucks.
That's like a scene from Transformers.
Yeah, it's
Just
crazy.
parked outside the Berg.
Yeah, it's a terrifying thought.
Oh
But
my God.
regardless, I think there's probably a lot of ways out there. And maybe I'll try and do a little recon here and see
Should
what
we just put together a plan?
I'm genuinely, I actually know people who are probably involved in the Xavier. I'm a former coworker of a former player who's heavily involved in Xavier basketball alumni stuff. And I'm curious to talk to him and a few other people and see what they're doing, because we've already talked about the recruits we've lost head to head on to Xavier. And I know they're a Big East school and they've got a couple advantages that we don't. But that's not to say that we can't try and replicate what they're doing on that front. I'd be pretty curious to see what them and a lot of other schools are doing. Even the schools that aren't necessarily like us. What are SEC football programs doing? To fund those, because that's a lot of scholarships. That's a lot of different guys they're all going to be chasing. What are they doing? We're never going to have that much money, but we also don't need as much money. So like, just what are the creative ways that we're getting other people involved? Their equivalent of the BVF has to be doing something,
Yeah.
other than just being quiet.
I have a question for you that I didn't put in the notes, but it is tangential to this. Do you think the Billiken Club is outdated now at this point? Like, I mean, do you think okay, so like is it redundant? If you continue the Billiken Club as it is, are you robbing Paul like to pay Peter? Meaning that like the saying is robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? But Paul's not getting any money anyway, and you're just robbing him. You're still robbing him of the money he already had.
So more or less, you're asking, does the Billiken Club exist at the
expense of
Yes, at the expense
Billiken
of the
Victory Fund.
Billiken Victory. Yeah, right. Well, they're technically supposed to operate as two separate independent things, right? Like
Correct.
the Billiken
No,
Victory Fund.
well, I guess my
I
point is, would
still
you
think there's got to be an equivalent of the Billiken Club.
right? Would you start my thing is I would start like I would start pushing people, you know, to the Billiken Victory Fund. I mean, I think it's obviously the Billiken Club is very much specific to men's basketball.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't know how you do it, but I think that you should absolutely look into how you can start funneling people from, you know, maybe a discount on the Billiken Club, or maybe you have a Billiken Victory Fund gets you get a membership card for the Billiken Victory Fund for X amount of donations a year, and you
Mhm.
automatically get a Billiken Club membership or something like that. Like, is there a way you can funnel people to the Billiken Victory Fund, but also provide Billiken Club
Yeah,
benefits?
my biggest question there is really the legal aspect, because they are, separate entities, and I don't think at any point the athletic department is going to feel like they're incentivized to drive dollars away from themselves.
Sure.
I just don't. I don't think they want to do that. I think they want to exist separately and in a unified general direction. But I don't think you're going to see the athletic department being like, hey, why don't you look over here too? Yeah, I don't think that's quite how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Um, I know,
It's a hell of a
but
spot.
it's also like, are they allowed to do that? I would want to know that too. I don't know all the technicalities of how they can coexist and operate independently of one another. I don't think it behooves either of them to pretend the other doesn't exist. But yeah, I don't necessarily know that they can drive people toward the other one.
So do you think that it is do you think the Billiken Club running continuing to be, those high dollar donors being members, do you think it's at the expense of the Billiken Victory?
I mean, in practice, yeah, it might be. It very well might be. People probably. I mean, people only have so many dollars that they're willing to throw at what for, in the general arena of their
Their
favorite
interest,
college
yeah.
athletics team per year. And so yeah, in a de facto way, yeah, sure. But officially, is where I think kind of the lines are drawn. Like I don't think we're ever going to see the athletic department asking us to give to it directly.
Pete, we've been at this for 55 minutes and we're going to get to men's basketball.
Yeah, we are.
Um, we had a visitor this weekend, the first publicized visitor since school started.
As far as I know, yeah. I mean, we've probably had other guys on campus that we don't know about. I'll let that disclaimer out there again, just like we did last week. But we can't confirm any. To refresh people's memory, Jaquavis Williford is a guy from Las Vegas. He's actually playing his final season at Middlebrooks Academy in Southern California. Plays his AAU ball with the Las Vegas Knicks, which is a New Balance basketball circuit team. And he just visited recently Oregon State. He visited UNLV, his local program. He's got offers also from Oklahoma State, New Mexico, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Jose State, so a lot of the Mountain West. Also Pepperdine and Romar, Indiana State, Kansas City, Long Beach, Cal State Fullerton, and Cal Poly. So pretty good offer list, mostly West Coast. He's got some interest from, the American, the Big Ten, a little bit of the ACC, what's left of the Pac-12. And then some odds and ends in what I guess you would call your mid majors and low major teams as well. He's basically he's a 6'6", 180-pound wing. He scores on 3 levels. He's got good length. He's active. He's bouncy. He finishes. Left-handed shot that he can make from anywhere. He's a good, versatile, vocal defender. And like I said, Middlebrooks is where he is at now, but he played for Cathedral High School in LA last season. So this guy, I think he'd be a nice get for us, kind of looking at the offer list. I think that's in our wheelhouse of what's both achievable and kind of where we want to be competing too, right? Like realistically speaking. I don't know kind of where his head's at, like he's had these 3 official visits that we know about so far. I'm not aware of any others on his calendar yet at this point. So I think Slew's in a pretty good spot. So I'm excited about the visit. I like him as a player. I'd be happy with the commitment. I think it's going to be interesting to see how there have been so many 2024 commitments recently. It's going to be interesting to me to see how many of those are able to be retained, right? In the age of NIL, there's already always going to be coaching changes, but it's one thing to get a commitment. It's another thing to have that guy on campus a year later. So we'll see how it develops, but he's looking like he's going to be a fall commit to me just based on his visit timeline. And hopefully we can get this one to go our way, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, from everything I've read, he looks like a really solid player. Jack Godar kind of chimed in, and he was excited about the visits. And he has been of the Billiken Twitter personalities, kind of the most down, I think, vocally speaking.
About he has. Yeah, he likes the offer. We got another response too right after Jack did. Basically saying that if Nico Medved wants him, then I do too. And Nico Medved, I guess he's the head coach now at Colorado State, known as a pretty good evaluator of talent. And that was Jason Bourne on Twitter, or that's what he goes by anyway. I don't know if he's the
Matt
real
Damon.
Jason Bourne. It could be an alias for him. He's a secret Bills fan, just like John Stamos.
Oh God, that I haven't heard that call back in a long time.
Yeah, there you go. I figured you would enjoy that. But regardless, yeah, I mean, a lot of the people who we haven't seen a lot of positivity from lately kind of like the offer. They like the visit. So this is a good one to have, Zach, given that we had another guy who was supposed to visit a couple weeks ago and didn't and committed elsewhere. Hopefully this one doesn't end in the same disappointment or heartbreak.
Yeah. Who knows? I'm
holding out hope.
This would be the first American commitment since the first American high school commitment since.
High school. Yeah, I was going to say Mike Meadows would be.
Yeah, first American high school commitment since.
Medley. At least to stick with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about right. Getting into women's basketball, we talked about Media Day. Or did we talk about Media Day? I don't think we did talk about Media.
I mean, we touched on it in our lengthy State of the Union before that, but no, we didn't get into specifically Media Day, which Zach, I'm hearing it happened allegedly today.
It allegedly happened. And again, this gets back to what we talked about, right? Media Day today. We saw, I can count on one hand how many pictures came out of Media Day. And that I'm not talking about from official accounts, because one picture came out, or actually one video came out from the official account, and that was Terrence Hargrove dunking. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if that was from today. Like, I don't know if that was actually taken today, because they haven't changed uniforms. The same jerseys this year. And it's just Terrence Hargrove dunking in a dark arena with smoke and lights.
It looks pretty cool. And they kind of just say, like, coming soon. So the message was along those lines. And then the other posts we saw were unofficial, like you said, from a few players. Yep. And they were kind of posting from their photo shoots, in front of the green screen. And that was kind of cool, but we haven't really seen anything else from the official accounts or from media members. I looked at all of our most our favorite media members, our most frequent media visitors, and none of them had said anything yet. So I'm willing to think that this might all be a big Monday news dump, that we're going to miss on our show because we're recording on Sunday night. But it's possible that this is going to result in a whole lot of activity today as people are listening to this, that maybe will coincide with the opening of the Champion Center or something, or maybe some hype leading up to that. Maybe it's going to be a 2-week media blitz from here on out. I'm willing to accept that as a possibility, but as of yet, nothing.
Whereas on the women's side, again, we didn't get any official video, but I think, okay, so women's side, we didn't get anything either. And the only thing I've seen so far is Belle Tillett posting some goofy pictures with her mother, aka the head coach.
Yeah.
But that brings me to another point: is the social media. This kind of a little callback to what we talked about earlier about how men's basketball has been kind of MIA on social media. Women's basketball, on the other hand, has had a lot of hype.
And it's the sort of thing, Zach, like that, given the way the seasons went last year and their unexpected success versus men's basketball's unexpected disappointment, at least lends some credence to the theory that they're kind of hiding for now on the men's side, because it's been really good. Like, we're seeing good variety, we're seeing good frequency. They're doing the thing right now where every time the countdown, of the number of days until they tip off their first official game, not exhibition game. The player who wears 32, that was today, 32 days until tip off. And they've got Peyton Kennedy standing there. They've got, I know they're not your favorite, but birthday posts and all that. They had some good video from getting to know new women's basketball associate head coach Jimmy Colleton, that I thought was a pretty good video. It didn't know a whole lot about him. A couple days before that, why not be better than we were last year? It was a video with Julia Martinez and some other players talking about where they are, where they want to be. It's been good. And then they're frequently putting out season tickets on sale now, starting at $85. By the way, great value. Go get them. It's been good. And I'm looking at all this stuff and we're seeing maybe half of that on the men's side.
When we are the biggest marketer of your program, that's a friggin' problem. Yeah, nothing. Yeah. I mean, again, just give us some personality stuff. If you guys think you're going to suck, give us your personality.
We've already talked about it almost an hour ago, but like, this team is a total mystery.
Yes.
Like give us something. Let us know what they're all about. So yeah,
I want to know what Bruce Zhang's favorite cartoon is. I want to know. Let me know.
Yeah.
Tell me what Tim Dolger's favorite post-game meal is.
Definitely. Yeah.
I mean,
I love that stuff.
We'll make them all try emos.
Like, what are we doing? Actually. Yeah.
What are we doing? We have a bunch of guys, bunch of fish out of water here. We have a bunch of weird delicacies here in St. Louis.
That's an awesome idea. Have them sit around a table and sample St. Louis delicacies. We're talking, you have extra large emos on the table.
I'm cutting this because if you could do something well, don't do it for free. I'm cutting this.
Gooey butter cake for dessert. Come on. Like that's an awesome idea, Zach. Just like that.
I think City did something like that, but it's like, you can make it your own.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's the same thing. They have a bunch of international guys. We have a bunch of you don't have to copy it word for word. You don't have to plagiarize it, but like
build it around their personalities, right?
Yes, build it again, like the hot ones, like around a table. Like I think they did individually, but you could do them like bantering while they eat it, like with each other. Like It's not that difficult, guys. Like I pay my student loan and I'll come up with some stuff. Pay $500 a month. Pay it. And I'll director of innovation, Zach Miller.
Just free idea. Well, I guess not free, but
Right into my Venmo.
Stream of ideas. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Dumb, man. Show us their personality. Make that video happen, and I will not say a damn word when you put that video out. You put that video out this week, and I will not say a damn thing about me coming up with it.
We do reserve the right to retweet it though, and we absolutely would.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make that video.
But to end this on a positive rather than negative note, kudos to the women for doing a good job. Keep the videos coming. They've been great. Love the personality of this team and the direction they're headed in.
You know what's not a St. Louis delicacy, but it pretty much should be? 2 Men in a Garden salsa.
But the pickles too, Zach.
Oh yeah, the pickles. Pickles really should be the delicacy. Because salsa is not really a food. It's a I don't know. Like pickles are like differ. When I think of food, like when I think of a food. So salsa is food, but it's not a food.
Mm-hmm.
Am I?
No, I disagree completely.
Okay.
I could sit down with a tablespoon and just eat a jar of it, man. Now there's can and should, and yes. Yeah. But Zach, I don't know. Are you familiar with the website YouTube?
It's also I've heard of it.
You've heard of it? Okay. So I hear there's this brand new fad on YouTube called unboxing videos. And I got this box here, Zach. People watching our YouTube can see this right now. It's from 2 Men in a Garden salsa. And that label right there, I really like that stamp on the box, Missouri grown USA, to show you that it's a local product from the state of Missouri. And a couple of weeks ago, I said I was going to put in an order. Some of the things I was excited about ordering, and I did. And so last week we were talking about how 2 Men in a Garden have kind of become the kings of all local sports marketing, with their new pickleball promotion, their stand in STL City Park. But here I'm gonna follow up on that order, Zach, and I got the smoky barbecue pickles, as you can see right there. It looks like they've got some onion slices in there. They've got a lot of the little mustard seeds and celery seeds. I'm pretty excited about these because I love the flavor of that. Like I said before, the chipotle smoky. What do they call it? The pickling pouch turned out great. The other pickles here I got, Zach, classic dill. This one is right up my alley. This is all day, every day. These are fantastic. I love a classic dill pickle, and theirs is great. It's thick, it's crunchy. You can't go wrong. This one is a little bit more of a risk for me. It's the bread and butter kickers. I'm not a bread and butter, sweet and sour, whatever people call them, kind of pickle guy. I like the classic dill, but I liked theirs. I've had the regular bread and butter before, and now this one's got a little spice, so I'm pretty excited. On the salsa side, Zach, because I got a 6-pack. You know I always go with the 6-pack. We've got the Cantina style now on the website. This is a medium. Again, I'm not going to get mad if they want to do Cantina style and hot. I would order that pretty frequently.
The Midtown Madness edition.
That's
the Cantina style hot.
There we go. And that's perfect. But to get the hot part taken care of for me, I've got the hot mango here. I think of all of their fruit salsas, this is probably the one I like most. Number one for the heat level. Number two, I think mango just works even better in salsa than the peach or the strawberry. So it's my favorite. And then I got the regular hot right here. Not Cantina style, a little bit chunkier, but that's fine. Sometimes I want the heat. Sometimes I want the texture. But regardless, 2minuteagarden.com has you covered, $9.99 nationwide shipping. And if UPS decides to steal a box, they'll put in the claim, and they'll right away ship you out another one. Not that I just had that experience or anything, but there you have it.
Hold on, Pete. This just in, the longest ad read in the history of podcasts. No. No, my mom said the other day, she said, I wish they sold pickle spears. So I don't
Spears.
know. Yeah, I don't know. She likes her or not margaritas, her Bloody Marys. So that
Gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah,
she likes
it
them.
goes well in there. I wonder how maybe they've experimented with them and the texture holds up
Mm.
better with a thick chip. I don't know.
Um, Men's soccer. Let's talk about some good things coming out of the athletic department, Pete.
Let's do it.
Uh, RPI 20.
Yeah. They snuck up on us.
They did. They've they still can't score worth a damn,
No.
but they
But
can
we'll
defend like heroes.
yeah, we'll get to it. They're doing some things well.
They're starting to get some votes in the polls again too. They're being rewarded for a strong strength of schedule. A 2-0 win, a matinee, if you will, at George Washington on Wednesday the 4th. I love George Washington's field.
Yeah. We we mentioned this in the last episode when we said it was on the schedule. And you remembered exactly right about those Adirondack chairs being
Because I love a
across
good Adirondack chair.
from
I could.
from
I'm gonna actually my bed is over here,
yeah.
and I'm actually just gonna buy an Adirondack chair and replace it. I'm gonna save myself some money. I
Just
love it.
just get a nice plaid wool blanket and pretend
Yes.
you're sleeping out
Beautiful.
next to a campfire or something like that.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, it is a lovely setting, and it made me look too because I was like, I stayed in a hotel like right across the street from George Washington's campus before, and I was like, I know they don't have like soccer fields over there. Like that campus, it's not big, it's really landlocked, really urban. The Smith Center is there for basketball, but I was like, they don't have fields. And then I actually looked it up, like their what they call their Mount Vernon Athletic Complex that has all of the fields is like 3 or 4 miles what would that be, northwest of campus. So you actually drive by Georgetown, and it's just a little past Georgetown. It's still in DC. But anyway, that's where all their fields are. And apparently some of their residence halls are over there too.
Like a
On the
legit satellite.
Yeah, but it's like a 12-minute shuttle
Oh,
from the main campus or whatever.
interesting.
So anyway, that's how you get that lovely setting that's not as crammed in as the rest of their campus. Which I think is cool, by the way. I like a good urban campus. But anyway, nice setting aside. George Washington Soccer Zach, not the strongest opponent.
They are not. No, this was a bad George Washington team. And the Billikens beat them 2-0. 14th minute, Seth Anderson with a header off a nice feed from Galen Flynn. CJ Coppola got the assist. Slew had been knocking on the door quite a bit and was aggressive throughout the whole first half. GW was lucky to be down one at halftime.
Yeah, they
The
were.
Billikens were dominant and giving, and George Washington was basically hanging on by a thread. You were just waiting for the rubber band to snap.
Yeah, and it was from our perspective, it's almost a little frustrating to only be up 1-0 at half. You felt like that could have been very easily 2 or 3. Slew just really controlled the pace, the tempo. What was a little disconcerting is George Washington did wind up getting some pretty good opportunities on the counter every now and then. So you clean that up, and this was pure domination. But luckily, Mason Hart was really good. 69th minute, though, Zach,
Nice.
Slew made it 2-0 on a Christian Buendia PK. He got the chance because of a handball on the box. Seth Anderson, it was kind of the same. I think it was Anderson and who was that? Galen Flynn, Coppola in the first half. I think it was that same group. He had a shot after a kind of a quick give and go there, hit off a defender's hand in the box arm, and Buendia got the PK. So I guess a little bit unlucky for GW, but those guys were really making stuff happen up front all day. And referred to him before, Mason Hart got the shutout. He was excellent in this one. He had one save in the first half that kind of scared me a little bit. He charged out to make the stop. George Washington kind of found a quick hole in the defense, and it looked like he took a boot in the ribs. But that was really the only time he was seriously tested in the first half. GW did have a couple better looks in the second half as well. But luckily he got up and was able to shake it off.
Yeah, the shots on goal in this one were George Washington 10, the Billikens 8. While the Billikens may have dominated the ball, they certainly did not get the number of shots off that you'd like to see. The
Yeah.
shots on goal were revolutionaries. That's weird. 5 to the Billikens too. So 2 shots on goal, 2 goals. That poor goalkeeper and his terrible save percentage. The corners were 6-5 GW and fouls GW 13-12. So odd stats in that one, Peter.
It's one of those games, like having watched it, but not really followed along the stats. It didn't make sense to me. I was like, that just cannot be right. There's no way GW had 10 shots. There's no way we only had 8. It felt like we had 8 in the first half. But I guess technically that's what it was. Like we had a lot of opportunities that did not result in shots, and that was kind of weird. So it's a friendly reminder that box scores do not tell the tale of a game and what happened. I would love to see things like, passing percentage, possession, things like that. It just did not feel right at all.
1-0 win Saturday the 7th against LaSalle. Diego Koning saw a header off a really nice ball in from Christian Buendia. CJ Coppola picked up a yellow after the goal. I really wish they would have scored earlier in this one.
Yeah, that would have been nice. LaSalle's, I thought they were going to be a little bit stronger, competition than this. I mean, lately we've really been hammering how this team just doesn't create enough shots or chances. It happened again at GW, like we were just saying. Even when they play well, it just was not the case here, right? Like this was more like a women's game that we've seen where they dominate and just don't finish enough. SLU outshot LaSalle 22-3. Shots on goal were 5-0. SLU, this is my favorite stat, Zach. SLU had 18 corners and LaSalle only had 2. LaSalle did actually wind up with 15 fouls to SLU's 13, and really it tilted like that because of the last few minutes. I was kind of reminded, and we've seen this happen a lot in our men's games this year. They can really get dirty in men's soccer after there's like a late, what like appears to be a decisive goal, in a 1-goal game. You would think that it would just be anything they can do to move the ball downfield and score, but they just like cheap shots are crazy.
They give up and they just go for the ankles.
It's wild, man. I couldn't believe like what LaSalle was doing in the last couple minutes here. There were 10 total cards in this game, 6 for LaSalle and 4 for SLU. SLU's goal came about 12.5 minutes after LaSalle's first red card. So I think it should be said, you said it was way too late, and I agree, but it also came with a man advantage. Because Evan Watt picked up his second yellow. He actually had the game's first yellow in the 28th minute. And then LaSalle got a second red on a hard challenge from behind.
Good luck with this one.
I'm not even going to say his name. I'm just going
to let me give it a go. Nope, not going to do it. Oh, Aymar Luenda Extaburia.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that. That was in the 87th minute. It's a bad challenge when he takes him down from behind with one boot kind of up, and it gets up, and before he's even standing, he's wagging his arm at the ref, being like, no. I think he knew that was at least a yellow, and that was a hard yellow if he got the yellow there. It was a pretty dirty foul. And again, man, did this got really weird. And then SLU, of course, doing the thing where they're just taking it into the corner, trying to waste seconds.
I would absolutely, I would be so happy if they don't do that at all.
Yeah,
like that is where ankles go to get broken.
It got really chippy too. It got really chippy when they tried to do that, but it was just the kind of soccer shithousery, time wasting kind of stuff that's built into the game, and it's fine, and I understand, but oh god, it's not fun to watch, even when the team you like is the team that's up. That's for sure. But Zach, you said SLU has been doing some things well, unbeaten in their last 7 games. Abenel's 3rd shutout of the season. We saw the goalies rotate this week. Hart got the first one, Abenel got the second game. And SLU has not allowed a goal in A10 play since September 23rd against Fordham, and that's the only goal they've conceded in conference. So as much as we've harped on them for like not creating chances, not scoring enough, they're really hard to score on.
Yeah. And they find themselves in first place in the conference The Billikens at 4-0-1, Davidson at 4-1, Fordham 3-2, along with UMass, Loyola Chicago, and Dayton 2-1-2, VCU as well. Duquesne 2-2-1, Mason 2-3, LaSalle 1-2-2, Bonaventure, Rhode Island, and St. Joe's 1-3-1, and George Washington is 0-4-1. Not exactly a revolutionary performance put on by them this season. Next up, Tuesday the 10th versus Central Arkansas, the annual game against the Bears. Saturday the 14th at Loyola. Pete, do you know my favorite fun fact about the University of Central Arkansas? Their women's sports teams.
Their women's sports teams. I don't know.
They are the Sugar Bears, or at least they used to be.
Oh wow,
uh-huh.
That seems like one of those things that is like decades outdated, but they probably were that way longer. I'm looking up right now,
and I kind like it's one of those things where like it's to me it's almost better than like Lady Bears. Like I just like Sugar Bears is so it's unique. It's unique. Like I can almost excuse kind of the
there you get your cute little nickname. Yeah. They still are the Sugar Bears.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Do it forever.
It's wow. Yeah.
Fly in the face of convention.
It's funny because you look at headlines and it says Bears, but like the website just flat out says like the official women's soccer page for University of Central Arkansas Sugar Bears.
Amazing.
So it appears to still be the nickname, even if they do shorten it to Bears in headlines sometimes. Wow, that's funny. I don't know if I had realized that, or at least I haven't thought of it in a long time.
Oh yeah, it's funny. And it may be that they have gotten rid of it, but never changed it on Google. Like if you think about it, like I don't see it anywhere on their website. Like it's not prominently displayed anywhere.
Interesting.
But but you look at again, like you go if you Google it and it pulls up, it pulls up the results. I'm sure for the people that are listening, it says it says it underneath it. So on Google it says it, but I don't know if like that's just a holdover from
according to Wikipedia, it's still Sugar Bears and Sugar Bears.
Merchandise, clothing. Yeah, it's still amazing. I love it. I think it's unique, and it's as unique as their purple and gray football field.
Yes, I always thought the Lady Bears or whatever. I always thought that was dumb. Like not just like set aside whether you think it's fair or wrong or right or anything. It's dumb because a bear is equally likely to be male or female. So it's like to just say Bears and Lady Bears. It's like it's just to me it's like a semantic thing. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I never liked it for that reason, first and foremost. But anyway, enough about the Sugar Bears. That is pretty funny though.
And then Saturday the 14th at Loyola for men's soccer. On the women's side, rankings, they're back. RPI 26th. They were 21 last week, so a bit of a drop. Coaches poll 24th. They were 28th last week, so they jumped into the rankings that are nationally recognized. Top Drawer Soccer has us at 19th. They were 24th the week before. In College Soccer News, they've stayed steady at 23. They had a 4-0 win versus Richmond today. That's yesterday if you're listening on Monday. It was senior day. Jess Pracer, Emily Grork, Abby Miller, and Anna Lawler were honored prior to the game. Pete, I can't tell you how great it is to see these ladies move on because I can't tell the difference between any of them.
You and I have kind of joked like these players in particular, this class, they could be sisters.
All four of them.
They have a similar look to all of them.
And the one player that has a sister does not look as much like her sister as she does these other players.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I know. I've always gotten them a little mixed up for that reason, and it's no disrespect because they're all great players, and we've loved covering them their whole time at SLU. But man, yeah, they could very well be sisters. But congrats to all of them. And Zach, I don't know about you, but like this really snuck up on me. I was like
Well, they did it. It's the last weekend game of the year,
the
which
last
has become
weekend.
the
Yeah,
last weekend home game, which has been, I believe, a hallmark of the Katie Shields program the
right.
last few years.
Yeah, because like they still, they play on the 12th and 19th at home, right? So like in my mind, we're still a few weeks away from the season ending and we still have home games, but you hear senior day and you're like, oh my God, I was not ready for that. Yeah.
I know it sneaks up on me. I think it gets earlier and earlier every year.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas decorations. Uh, um, there were a few that are listed as seniors but didn't go through the ceremony. I think we can read between the lines here and assume they will come back for one more year, and that's Emily Percelli, Caroline Kelly, Katie Hauk, Lindsay Heckel, and Sophia Stram.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it means they all come back, but regardless, it means they're still probably planning to stay in college.
Katie Shields described this match in her post-game interview as their best overall performance this year, and I gotta agree. They really were flying high throughout this match. It started with an absolute banger of a goal by Hannah Larson. Great through ball from Sophia Stram, and she cut it back and just kind of got her left foot on it. I mean, it's one of those that goes, oh, like
Yeah.
that's how you respond to it. You don't give like a major, but you're just like, oh,
I love this goal. The through ball was great. But I didn't know that Larson was just going to go and create a goal that quickly off it. It was just
no.
1, 2, 3 really precise touches to just put herself in position to score. And it caught me off guard. I thought
It was a very quick strike goal.
like glad they found her in deep. Let's see what she creates here. I was like ready for something to develop in the box, and it was just bang, bang, bang. Like, okay, wow.
So often this team
Yeah.
either scores off. This team really doesn't score. They'll score on transition 1v1, but they if there are defenders back, they will try to make things get weird in the box more
Hmm.
often than not. And this one was pure skill
Yeah.
all the way through. It was a beautiful goal. Great finish by Hannah Larson in the 16th minute to put the Billikens up 1-0. 24th minute, Caroline Kelly header off an Izzy Lubert corner kick. Um, I gotta say, Don Tebow, the AR on that side of the field, I don't know what kind of crack he was smoking, but I'd like some. I have no clue how he even thought this could have possibly been a corner kick. This was one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my life. I'm not
Yeah.
like I have no idea.
I think I told you I was watching this one and then my 4-year-old ran in and said she had to go to the bathroom. So I went in to help her and I got back just in time to see the corner kick itself, but I didn't see the play leading up to it. As I guess is the point of that
It
stupid
was
anecdote is like you were like, how is that a corner kick? I'm like, I don't know, but like the result was great.
you, I think you texted me, are you watching this? At the
Yeah.
same time I texted you,
Yeah,
I don't know
right.
how that was a corner kick.
Right. Right.
But it
Our
was,
signals crossed.
yeah, it was truly bizarre. Well, I got bad service down there today. Um, Caroline Kelly, yeah, got her head on the end of this one, got up in traffic, turned her head and put it far side of the net, 2-0 lead, held till halftime. And I gotta say, I was very happy that they got 2 goals up. Just as Katie Shields said, they really wanted to get on them early and then put them away in the second half. And Anna Lawler, exactly 5 minutes into the second half, a pretty soft header off the Richmond keeper's punch, wasn't able to clear it. The ball bounced before that as well off a Lindsay Heckel header. Lubert got another assist for the corner that started it. And I believe that, wait, no, this was the goal with the corner kick.
Yeah. Now, as soon as you started describing this goal, I was like, no, this was the one.
Yeah, this was the one.
The first one was fine. Yeah, that
Yes.
one was standard. But this one, I think, was the one that
Yes.
where the play itself is what I saw, right? So the
Yeah.
play itself was it goes in the she sends the corner kick in, it goes, Heckle pops it up in the air, very much in line like with how we've seen the men's team score on corners, right? Like push it over to the far post, and how I think Konings has really become an expert on that, on keeping that play alive. And anyway, the keeper gets 2 fists on it, but there's a slew defender or a slew player right there, and she can't get like a clean punch on the ball to kind of get it out of the box. So it just pops up a little bit. And you see Anna Lawler, she's got like a stance, and she's ready to put her head like fully into it. And she did, but the ball it was such a soft ball to her that there was no way to get like good force on it. So I thought she might not be able to have enough on there to even push it into the net, but she did. It was just kind of a weak sequence all around. It just kind of popcorned around in there a little bit and eventually wound up in the net, but it's worth just as much as if she had put a legendary header on it. So whatever.
Can we talk about the Gaby play on the early in the second half where she put it right off the defender's dome?
Oh,
Oh, I heard the thud from the last row of
yeah.
the bleachers.
Yeah. There were definitely some plays in this game where I felt a little bit sorry for Richmond. I didn't think it was anything like Richmond had a bad game plan or they didn't know what they were doing or anything like that. It's just like the class of player was just not there. Like Slew just looked faster at every position and just more decisive. And it was kind of incredible to watch that way.
I want to actually talk about that 24th minute goal again because that goal was scored off. This is so I'm told was scored, and I noticed this at the game. The director of I can't I don't try. I got to get her title right real quick. Um, Peyton Bauman though. She is a member of the staff. She's the director of operations, and I believe they named that corner kick play, that set piece for Peyton as just kind of a head nod to her for her hard work. And that was the first time they had run it and they scored it. And
On the first time.
yeah, Peyton, I could on the sideline, she lost her mind.
I'd have to watch a replay of exactly what they did, but it definitely looked different. Like I could tell like they were trying something like it looked different, right?
Yeah.
And Kelly got great position on it. I know there's like I've kind of heard mixed things over how you should actually be trying to put a ball in the net. When you've got a header and you're trying to angle it in there, like how far you should turn, what side you should be going for, like all of that kind of stuff. But she got full rotation on it and everything and hit it squarely. But you're right. I mean, it definitely looked different than what we've seen from some of the others. And I also thought it was interesting that Lubert was taking the corners for the most part in this one. Because I mean it's generally been Larson, right? Taking in the season.
Yeah, I don't know. By the way, I think I might have been wrong. I think this actually might have been a corner. I was kind of rewatching the play when Gaby cut in, and I think 34 for Richmond might have got a foot on it. So sorry, Don Tebow.
Are you back to the other one now?
Yeah.
The other
Yeah. We're
okay.
jumping
Okay.
around,
So you're ricocheting back to the other play. I was like, yes, this was a corner. Of course it was a corner. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Got it. I understand what you mean now. Yes.
Yeah. So
well, I missed that one regardless. So.
Sorry. No, I missed that. Apparently I was wrong. Good call, Don Tebow.
All right. Let's get to this last goal.
63rd minute, Hannah Sawyer. The pocket rocket is what I'm calling her from now on because she was shot out of a cannon on this one. She got a ball up the right side from Gaby and just absolutely turned on the Jets. Had one Richmond defender to beat. She was able to make a fairly wide turn to blow right by her.
Yeah.
Got it to her left foot and tucked it right between the keeper and the near post. Incredible individual effort here from Sawyer.
Yeah, I mean, once she got the ball, and this season more than the last couple, I've noticed like she's really, really fast. I don't know if she's like getting faster. And I know she's a little bit she's listed at 5'3", so I know she's a little bit shorter, and that, whatever. I know there's like a visual element to it, but man, she is really fast. And this defender just looked hopeless against her, right? Like we knew she was going to get a shot off, and then she just placed it perfectly. And yeah, what an impressive play. Because it like I said, it was she kind of like took a little bit of a wide turn. It wasn't like a quick cut. She just had this defender beat all the way around, got the angle she wanted, and snuck it in there.
Yeah, Gaby and Sawyer both. You get them. If you aren't on your toes, you are going to get just torched.
Yeah.
But the Billikens sent in some reserves with 20 minutes to play, including subbing on Becca Wolterman for Emily Percelli. Richmond also subbed out their keeper. I believe it was right after which was it? It was after a save, I think, actually, or a miss from Slew. But this is preposterous. The stats: shots were 25-3 Billikens, shots on goal 9-3, corners 12-1, and fouls were 6-3 Spiders. Pete, run us down the stats. And sorry to the LaSalle Explorers, but they are no longer at the top. They had a nice day at the top.
They did, and I don't want to overlook them either. They're pretty good this year. Yeah. So yeah, not overlooking anybody.
Before we got here, not before we got here, but before Shield started building this, it was the LaSalle and Dayton show. It really was.
We really think of Dayton, but LaSalle's been sneaky good in there as well. But regardless, SLU is in first. They've got 16 points. They're 5-0-1. Right behind SLU, you've got LaSalle at 5-1. Dayton is still undefeated, 4-0-3. UMass is 4-1-2. St. Joe's 3-1-3. Duquesne technically undefeated, 2 wins, 4 ties, no losses. Fordham and Rhode Island are both 2-1-3. Loyola and Bonaventure are both 2-2-2. VCU 2-4-1. Richmond 1-5. Mason 1-6. And then you've got George Washington and Davidson are the winless teams, 0-5-1 and 0-6-1, bringing up the rear and somehow behind George Mason, which is still surprising to me, Zach.
That's bad.
To peek ahead a little bit, SLU does actually not play LaSalle, and they've already played Dayton, so they do have the 4th and 5th place teams. UMass,
although UMass was the one team that got first place vote in the preseason poll.
There you go.
Or no, wasn't it Dayton?
I think it was UMass. I think it was UMass.
I think Dayton got it in the men's side, maybe.
Yeah. So SLU's remaining games are against the teams that are 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th. So they're really kind of playing top half from here on out.
Volleyball. Really just a tough week all the way around, I think. 3-0 loss versus Loyola on Tuesday the 3rd, 22-25, 22-25, and 17-25. They just could not. They're just self-inflicted wounds and a good Loyola team. Kayla Richardson had 9 kills. Kate Opperly had 18 assists. Carly Rogers, 18 digs. Loyola outswung SLU 224-104 and had 44 kills to the Billikens 31. They also had a 10-4 advantage in blocks. One thing that SLU has been not very good at is getting blocks. Loyola was the conference champion last season. They had some, I believe their libero or defensive specialist had her mother passed and missed a few games in there. So that is why they had a couple inexplicable losses. Pete, the weekend didn't get much better. And in fact, I mean, the scores look a little bit better, but man, are these two just really frustrating matches?
Ugh. Back-to-back 3-2 losses at Duquesne. The first one on Friday the 6th. And Zach, it's weird because they both kind of had the same arc to them.
Exact same mark.
SLU won the first one 25-20, dropped the second 12-25, won the third 25-17, lost the fourth 18-25, and then 16-18 in the fifth and final set. Yeah, very, very frustrating. Delaney Rice, 16 kills, Jillian Mattingly, 5 aces, Trinity Luckett, 5 blocks, Kate Opperly, 32 assists, and Carly Rogers with a season high 32 digs. Saturday the 7th, Zach, like I said, same arc, 3-2 loss, 25-16, 23-25, 25-22, 15-25, and then 18-20 in the final set.
This was infuriating.
31 ties, 14 lead changes. Richardson had 15 kills. I think that's a career high for her, or season high. Freshman Josie Newcomb also had a career high 14. Trinity Luckett had 8 blocks. Addie Lyon, 49 assists for a season high for her. And then Carly Rogers with 19 digs. The numbers there, if they sound a little weird, I went with the ones that were in the box score, not the recap, if anyone is paying attention there. But Zach, what was it that made these just so frustrating?
I mean, like anytime you go up 2-1, you've got to shut the door in that fourth set. Mm-hmm. And they laid an egg in both fourth sets. I mean, first of all, they laid an egg in that second set in the first match. And in the fourth set, 18-25, okay, not bad. 15 lose by 10 in the fourth set when you can go ahead and win a match. You got to stay in that. I think there's with this team, we talked about, I think Beatty talked about how Boken and bringing that energy of like every point matters. Every point is the most important point. And you watch these games and all you see are ball handling errors. That final freaking point of the match was, I mean, they didn't even put a swing on it. They didn't even get a set on it. It's like it's just so frustrating. They get up in that third set and then give it right away. It's like playing every point and being present every point. I don't know. I don't know. So, but again, I'm willing to give Beatty, time. She still needs time to get her players in, and we'll see. We have Emily Hankin back in the lineup. She played a few sets at Duquesne, so I'm thinking we'll see her start maybe against Fordham coming up, and no rest for the Wicked. Honestly, Fordham has had a decent season. I don't think their schedule has been all that great, but they're sitting at 12 and 10 and 5.
10 and 5 overall, 3 and 4 in conference. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that'll be at home. But yeah, it's just there's so many self-inflicted wounds, so many just passing errors. Yeah, I really would love to see this team, maybe get a little less aggressive serving. I count way too many times where we start sets off with service errors. I really don't like that. But again, we'll see where it goes. Like I said, next up is Fordham on the 13th and 14th. Field hockey fell to VCU 4-1 on Friday, 6th at Sportport. Billiken lone goal tied it in the third quarter and came from Josefina Perez, assisted by Sierra Larson. VCU got 12 goals. 2 goals in a 2-minute span in the fourth quarter to end SLU's hopes. Shots were 14-3 VCU. Shots on goal 9-2 VCU, and then the penalty corners were 6-1 Rams. The Billikens fall to 1-10 on the season, 0-4 in conference. Normally, Lock Haven and SLU are battling for 7th, but Davidson is the other winless team right now in the A10. SLU plays Lock Haven at home on the 20th and at Davidson on the 27th. So 2 chances to grab a couple of conference wins. Next up will be Friday the 14th at versus LaSalle, Sunday the 16th at Maryville, or versus Maryville, both at Sportport. That'll be a kind of a split home match. Both they share that field.
Right.
Maryville. LaSalle's 3-1, 8-4 overall. Maryville's 4-4, but has lost 3 in a row. They're also a lower division team, and SLU beat them 5-0 in exhibition play. Pete, let's go running.
Cross country didn't run this week, but next up they're at the Bradley Pink Classic in Peoria on October 13th. And then swimming and diving were also off this week, but they've got the McKendree Drury double duel at McKendree on the 13th and 14th of October. So busy next weekend for all the fall sports.
All right, Pete, this episode hasn't been long enough. What if the 2020 team didn't get COVID? No, I'm kidding. That'll do it.
Another day.
Yes, that'll do it for this episode of the Midtown Madness Podcast and for this week in Billiken Athletics. Thank you again for listening. If you haven't liked and subscribed, do that. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. It means the world. Go Bills.
Go Bills.